Thank you very much, Leicester. It's lovely to be here. I'll start with the trousers. Yes. They're a charity shop purchase. Yeah. I love a good charity shop. I've actually got the same body type as dead old women. Convenient for the wardrobe. I know that's a dark way to start the show. I know it's bad because it's now got to the point that I see fashionable old ladies walking down the street. And I think to myself, I hope you go soon. That's no way to live, you know. Bagsy in cardigans or frail old people, it's hard though, because it's good. Charity shops are fantastic, you know, they're great for the environment. It's the opposite of fast fashion, coffin couture. And where I live is a fantastic calibre of charity shop. I live in a little place called Salisbury. Yeah, thank you very much. 2 fans in. For those of you that don't know Salisbury, I would describe it as the world's poshest shithole. There's crack dens and whorehouses, but they're all Grade 2 listed. And it's a good place for charity shopping because it's rich people donating stuff, and then all the shops are staffed by clueless old volunteers. They don't know the value of anything. Oh. Gookie, what the fuck's that? £2, that'll do. I love it, it's fantastic. But this show isn't about charity shops, my love of charity shops, or indeed my favourite charity shop, Sue Ryder. You can't deny it, Sue Ryder is a fantastic charity shop. It's the queen of all charity shops. I love Sue Ryder, but it's not about Sue Ryder. No, this show is about power, about pride, about solidarity. Which does present some titling issues, as my name is Andrew White, and Andrew White pride, Andrew White solidarity, Andrew White power would attract a demographically similar, but ideologically very different audience. So no, instead the show is called Andrew White brackets, but not in a gay way. It's a title I chose to make you all look like sort of reluctant homophobes coming into the... I'm here to see Andrew White, but not in a gay way. And really what this show is about a pair of wellies, yes. You see, I am from Salisbury, but a couple of years ago, I moved to Bournemouth for a faster pace of life. I moved to Bournemouth, and guys, guess who's a homeowner? My landlord. None of you wanted to woo that. You sort of sensed the trap. No, you're right, I'm on the rental ladder. I mean, it's like the property ladder, the rental ladder, but sort of laid down flat, and it meets itself again. More of a rental model railway set. But I had to move, had to get independent, you know, I had to leave my parents. And don't get me wrong, I love my parents paying for things, but just couldn't stay. It got to the point, especially after all the lockdowns, it got to the point with my parents that they were making me tune out of conversations I just started. I don't know if you've ever experienced this with a loved one or just anyone oh, here's a conversation topic. Not with you. Okay. I've made a casting error. So I left home, moved to Bournemouth, moved in with my lovely housemate, who is genuinely my housemate, by the way. You know, some people look a bit suspicious. They think that housemate is coded language, right? Like I'm a sort of closeted 80s man, you know. Oh, Uncle Andrew lives with his very good friend. No, he is just my housemate. He will not put out. Nice. I moved to Bournemouth for several reasons, obviously the independence and perhaps even romance. You see, I'd never really had much romantic experience before as a gay man. There wasn't a lot of options in Salisbury. To be honest, I knew 2 other gay men in Salisbury, and even then we had to meet one at a time because, I don't know if you know this, 3 gay guys walking down the street in Salisbury, that is technically a parade. Yeah. We have to write to the council, they close the roads, it's not worth the hassle. I don't get me wrong, it has its benefits being in a sort of low gay population. Number one, that's part of the reason why the charity shops are so good. If you go somewhere with lots of gays, Bristol, Brighton, they know the value of things. You know, that's the problem with gays, is they like to value themselves, and they will steal all the good stuff. That is... And gays love vintage clothing. They love dressing from an era they were illegal in. That's sort of... their thing. It's very weird. So it's good for charity shopping, and it's also good for sort of like sexual options because, how do I put this? Basically, there's a supply-demand relationship with the gay dating pool. Put it this way, I'm a Brighton 2, but I'm a Cornwall 10. That's sort of how it stacks up across the country. But even with this advantage of being one of the only gays in Salisbury, even then I'd never been in a relationship, I'd never really had much gay experience, I thought Bournemouth might be a better place to go. And don't get me wrong, there's a fair share of randy retirees in Bournemouth too, yes, but it's also a student population and people around my own age. So I downloaded Grindr. Now, I tried Grindr before in Salisbury, but it was mostly just men over 65 who've taken up homosexuality in their spare time. I've got a bit of time on my hands. Spotted gardening, sort the shed out, 10-man gangbang. A few puzzles, keep myself busy. And it's very weird if you're ever in an area like that, even if you're not gay, maybe you're even a woman, just download Grindr, have a little look, because all it'll be is a sea of blank profiles, right? And I can never quite work out whether all these old men, whether their profiles are blank because they want to remain anonymous, or whether they just can't upload a profile picture. It's not Facebook. You can't get your grandchildren to help with that one, right? Timmy, can you help me send this picture of my penis? A nice young man. Demographically, I'm just saying, demographically in Salisbury, I'd be better off matching with teenage girls and hoping that 40-year-old men turned up. Anyway, nice to find the moral flaw of the room, early doors. Thankfully, I did not have to stoop so low. I moved to Bournemouth, and a guy matched with me. We don't really match, it's sort of an open source resource, Grindr. You just sort of message whoever you want, and this guy messaged me. He was 23, I think I was 22 at the time, which I cannot stress enough was a real luxury. From where I'm from, we were born in the same decade. I mean, whoa, that's pretty... He did not qualify for a Sun Life Parker pen. What more could you want? So I sort of messaged this guy back and forth, and he decides to come over to mine for a hookup. Now, I have to be honest, it was just a hookup. Grindr is basically a hookup app. It's very sexual. A lot of gay male culture is quite sexual, quite hookup-based. Lesbian culture, very different. Lesbians, they're quite committal. They move in quite quickly. Like the gay app is Grindr. The lesbian app is Zoopla. And... So I'm there. He comes over to mine. We do have a hookup, but nicer than that, we have a lovely chat. Before we hook up, we chat for an hour, about 2 hours, just chatting, and then we hook up. And I'm thinking, there's something nice here, because you don't really get that in Grindr. As I say, it's a very sort of in and out situation. Or, no, never mind. That was poor phrasing. But point is, you just sort of do the thing and go. But we actually had like a nice connection. So I thought, why not to keep going? You know, why do we have to end this here? Do you want to go for dinner? And he was like, yeah, okay, let's go for dinner. So I took him to the local Pizza Hut, because I'm nothing if not a romantic. That is a classic, sex, salad bar. That's sort of the hut to slut pipeline. Annoyingly, I was hoping to catch the buffet, but we missed it by 20 minutes. Yeah, I know. So we sat there connecting over our individual pizzas. And it was really nice. We really got on. He added me on Instagram. We had another back and forth on there, and we agreed to have a second date. We had a coffee in Winton, which is where I live in Bournemouth, and then we had a third date. And we went on a third date. It was coming up to Halloween, so we thought what we'd do is we go round all the charity shops in Winton and buy his Halloween costume. Now, Winton, fantastic charity shops. That's not why I chose to move there, but it did figure above local schools and crime. So, yeah. I don't need the violent crime statistics. Have you got a Sue Ryder? That's the important thing. Right. So we went around all the charity shops in the estate, sort of getting together his costume for his Halloween idea, which was to go as Mr. Tweedy from the Aardman Animations film Chicken Run. The thing with Chicken Run and Mr. Tweedy, all you need to know really is that he is a farmer character. So we were getting sort of like tweed jackets, all that sort of stuff, like a shirt, sort of farmery trousers, and we got everything, even a rubber chicken as a prop, everything except a pair of wellies and a flat cap. Now, I'm from the countryside. I've got a pair of wellies, you know, every Boxing Day, on a muddy walk with the family, I've got a pair of wellies. And I've got a flat cap because at the age of 11, I had an extensive hat collection. Which, despite that fact, I actually lost my virginity much earlier than you're thinking. So, yeah. So I said to him, I've got a pair of wellies, I've got a flat cap, don't ask why. I'll bring them round to you. So we met a fourth time. I gave him the cap and the wellies, and he went off to do whatever he was doing that day and get ready for the Halloween party. And he went and he sent me a picture of him at the party in the costume. It looked great. He was talking at the party. It was very popular, the costume. And I thought, oh, great, we've nailed this. So I'll keep messaging him. At some point, he stops replying during the night. Or whatever. You know, he's drunk. He's having a good time. I'll leave him to it. So I messaged him the next morning. Doesn't reply. You know, he's hungover. He's busy. It's fine. I'll leave him to it. So I messaged him the day after that, November 2nd. And for those of you that can't do maths. November 2nd, I message him. And my message just disappears. He has blocked me. He has ghosted me, rather aptly, for Halloween. I don't feel bad for me. I've been ghosted a lot. It's sort of quite common in gay culture. I've been ghosted more times than Ebenezer Scrooge. Christ. And if you don't know what ghosting is, it's basically where somebody sort of leaves you. They just sort of leave your life. They don't really say anything. They don't say goodbye. They just disappear. It's sort of like an Irish goodbye, but on an existential level. And as I said, I've been ghosted before, so I was a bit annoyed because I never really got to a third date stage before. As I said, I never really had a relationship. This was the first sort of sign of something that could be, and he's disappeared date 3, which is annoying and sad, but also I've never had anyone ghost me whilst in possession of my flat cap and wellies. Now, I don't necessarily need the flat cap, you know, I've not got any sort of Peaky Blinders fancy dress events coming up, that's fine. But the wellies are useful, you know, I've got the Boxing Day muddy walk with the family, I need those wellies back. So I don't know, I know roughly where he lived, but I couldn't exactly go door to door asking for my wellies. Because the thing with Grindr is it's a radius-based service, it sort of shows you where your nearest gay is. Let's not get into the ethics of it, shall we? But the point is, it's just a radius, you know. It's not like Find My iPhone. You can't just sort of Pokemon Go your way through the homosexuals. Pokemon Go. No. Not how it works. So I sort of I knew roughly where he lived, which was nearby, but he lived round the corner, like a 5-minute walk. That is a ballsy ghosting, you know? Like our postcode, 1 letter difference, maybe. We shared a big Lidl. You know what I mean? I thought, okay. So I thought, well, there is one thing I can do, because it's radius-based. If I download a new Grindr account and get 2 other friends to also do that and go to opposite corners of Bournemouth, I could use the radiuses to triangulate his exact position. Unfortunately, I didn't have enough friends willing to download a gay sex app for me. So, yeah, call yourself an ally. I know, by the way, some of you started laughing on the sentence, I didn't have enough friends. And that... I heard it and it hurt, okay? So I thought, I've got to get his attention. I've got to get these wellies back, okay? It became my mission. I really got obsessed and sort of latched on to getting my wellies back. And I thought, right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to go big scale. I think it's the only way I can guarantee getting to him. What I'm going to do is I'm going to become so immeasurably famous. A gay icon, right? So much so that I am invited onto the Graham Norton show. I'll tell my story to Graham Norton, and his producers will find the wellies for me. It's fantastic TV. It'll be great on the ratings. It's the only logical solution, right? So I said all this to my housemate Sam. I said I'm going to become a gay icon, and I thought, how hard can it be? You know, there's actually not a lot of gay icons out there. So certainly not gay men, anyway. Obviously, we had Elton John, but we've lost him recently. He didn't die. He just collaborated with Ed Sheeran and Lad Baby, so... Dead to me. But otherwise, there's not a lot of gay male icons. You know, there's lots of like Beyonce and Barbara Streisand and people like that. And what we've done as a community of gay men is we have outsourced our gay iconship to several straight women. That's sort of... Say what you like about the gays, but we are fantastic at delegation, okay? So, you write the protest song, we'll just dance to it. Oh, yeah. Born this way, yeah. This is activism, yeah. So I thought, there's not a lot of competition here. I can swoop in, become a gay male icon, write a protest song. I'll become a gay musical icon. I said all this to my housemate, Sam, and he said to me, have you considered therapy? So I said, well, I think it's a good thing to do anyway. You know, it's good for my career to become a gay icon, get that level of fame, something I want anyway. I want to be in the public eye like that. And he said, well, yeah, but you're not a singer-songwriter. Why don't you just do it as a stand-up? Surely that makes more sense. And I said, oh, yeah, I hadn't actually considered that. And I know that sounds stupid, but I hadn't considered it because I started stand-up before I came out publicly. I was sort of doing this before I really was open with my identity. I hadn't done a lot of gay material up to this point. This is my first ever explicitly gay show. As in, like, advertised, not like explicitly gay. So I never really sort of talked about lots of issues for several reasons. Number one, as I said, I came out quite late. Number two, I felt a lot of pressure sort of to fit within a certain box, to be a certain type of way, from producers, from agents, and I didn't quite know where to go with that. So I shied away from it for a little bit. And I sort of settled on that I think Sam is right, and that maybe I should do this via stand-up. When I went to a gig in Somerset, this was sort of late November at this time, I went to this gig in Somerset for a woman I'd never gigged for before. And as I got off stage, she said to me, oh, I didn't realise you were a gay. A gay. And I thought, you know what? I'm going to become the gay. So here it is. I'll write stand-up about my gay experiences. I'll become a gay icon within stand-up comedy. I'll get invited on the Graham Norton show, get to play the red chair game. That'll be a fun little bonus for me. Graham Norton's producers will find my wellies for me. It's the only logical solution. Okay. So all I've got to do now is write some stand-up about my gay issues, which, unfortunately, I'm pretty privileged. That's... I am a white, middle-class gay man, the least oppressed of all the oppressed, and to make it even worse, my parents are very supportive. Bastards, absolute bastards. But no hardship to write about. I think my parents always knew. They were very supportive because they prepared for a long time, you know. Like I was a very gay child. We'd have babysitters come over. I'd be in my kimono. Wine glass of Ribena. Oh, come in, darling. Mr. Tumble's about to start. I didn't toddle, I minced, basically. So I always knew I was gay. And in fact, even at school, where there was... I went to an all-boys school. You'd think it'd be rife for homophobia. It was, but not towards me. I got less homophobia than all of the other boys, genuinely. Because there was this playground game, you may have experienced this in your life. Basically, the boys, they'd all go round and they'd go, huh, you dropped your gay card. And then if you looked, the implication was that you had a gay card and were therefore gay. It's a lovely bit of business. But the problem is, I was such a fastidious, nerdy child with an extensive hat collection that I just never fell for it, you know? They'd be like, oh, you dropped your gay card. I would never be so careless. I know exactly where it is. Also, it's 2024. It's a QR code now. So I've been very lucky. I've not really had a lot of homophobia directed towards me. In fact, if anything, I sort of worry that I myself am anti-gay. In fact, that's not going to help at all. I can't become a gay icon when I'm detrimental to the gay community. But basically, the reason I say that, I don't think I necessarily have lots of homophobia within me, internal or anything like that. But there was this period of time when I was at school where I hooked up with 3 guys who are now all straight. Yeah, it turns out I'm like the only effective conversion therapy. You know, I don't know if you've ever fucked somebody back into the closet. But I was batting 3 for 3 in sixth form. So move over, Westboro Baptist Church. Andrew White saving the sinners. He's got a dick so good it'll make you say, not for me. No, not for me, thank you. You know the phrase, once you go black, you never go back? Once you go white, you see the light. Just banging them back into the embrace of God. So as my teenage years, curing half a Salisbury, and I was looking at all like thinking, well, there's not really a lot of gay issues for me to write about here. You know, I've had a very lucky life, and luckily, at the start of 2020, I finally got a gay issue. I was hate crimed in the streets. No, I'm joking. I always think that's a funny left turn, but audiences really tense up. Should I cut it? Maybe. No, I like it too much. No, it was much more hassle-free form of homophobia. It was basically administrative homophobia. In that, at the beginning of 2020, I went to give blood. And they said to me, a gay man like yourself, you cannot give blood 3 months after having sex, for a whole 3 months after having sex. And as it turned out, at that time, the time frame wasn't the issue, but it's the... it's the principle, you know? So I went away and looked this up. It was so baffling to me. And I went away and looked up, it's true. They said gay men. Well, they don't say gay men. They say men who have sex with men, because, of course, you're only gay if you're getting laid. It's nice to know that the NHS shares my own personal anxieties. I said men who have sex with men. I'm joking, but I know it's an inclusive term. You know, men who have sex with men. It's inclusive of gay men, bi men, and the 3 straight boys from school. All under that umbrella. So men who have sex with men cannot give blood 3 months after having sex. Oh, by the way, not only is this sort of like wildly homophobic, it's also very lazy, because they can't even be bothered to write out men who have sex with men every time. So they shorten it to MSM, which is why I've started referring to Grindr as MSM Messenger. You're welcome. So I went and said men who have sex with men can't have sex 3 months after giving blood, which... No, other way around. Men who have sex with men, I suppose you can have sex straight after giving blood, but you'd probably be a bit deranged. Anyway. No, not more bodily fluids, please. Let's get a clean cut of that. It says men who have sex with men cannot give blood 3 months after having sex, which is quite a sacrifice, really, considering the reward for giving blood. A biscuit. I've got to stay celibate for a jammy Dodger. If I go down the right alleyways, I can get cash for my blood, right? Never mind a Garibaldi, okay? It's stupid. It's such a stupid policy that the NHS, they changed it themselves. About mid-2020, they changed the law. They needed more blood donors. They wanted to include more people. So they said gay men can give blood and have sex so long as they are in a long-term relationship. Now, not to panic any new couples in the room, but according to the NHS, a long-term relationship is 3 months. 3 months. That even by lesbian standards, that is a short relationship, right? You can't even finish a box set in that time. 3 months. Also, what a harrowing anniversary point for you and your partner, you know? Your diamond wedding anniversary, your golden anniversary, your 3-month blood anniversary. I know. So basically, the law was you either had to refrain from sex for 3 months or settle down into a long-term relationship. So have no sex or settle down. And look, I don't want to misquote the NHS. I think the NHS is one of the best things about this country. I want to be, right in when I represent them. I don't want to misquote them. I've actually written down the exact wording of the guidelines here. So you either had to have no sex for 3 months or settle down into a relationship. And it says, no shortbread for slags. Official NHS guidelines there. Unfortunately, that's no longer the end of that bit. That's as much as that's a nice full stop on that little routine. The NHS have changed the law again. They've changed the law again because they were worried that they were coming across as homophobic. So to remove any inference of homophobia, the law has now changed. It changed in 2021, so that it is a 3-month exclusionary ban on all anal sex of any gender. Yes, whether you are MSM or AGI, as God intended. The law is now a 3-month blanket ban on bumming. So they've now excluded more people under this umbrella and still excluded the people that they're being homophobic against. So it's not quite fixed as an issue. And I don't know what to do about it, okay? I feel like if I'm going to become a gay icon, I should have some power. I should be making some change in the world with my words. And if anything, I want them to reverse the changes they've made. I want to reverse gay rights to this point, go back a few stages, A, because it's more practical, and B, because it's funnier for my joke. And I don't think a gay icon can be calling for the reversal of gay rights, you know? I think that maybe this isn't the gay issue that I should hang my hat on. And I've got many hats to hang. But... So I thought, okay, let's not sort of make a career out of the blood donation routine. Maybe there's another gay issue facing the UK. I am aware there is international homophobia, but that seems tricky. So I look closer to home. There must be still like lots of issues with the homophobia in the sort of institutions of the UK. And there is a big one, a big glaring one that surprised me. Here now, February 2024, it is still legal to have conversion therapy. Conversion therapy is still legal here in the UK, which is mad, right? There's no logical or scientific basis to convert. Never mind the ethics of whether we could, whether we should, if we could. We can't, and even if we could, we shouldn't. It's ridiculous, right? It's all crystals and sort of bullshit like that. It's basically homoeopathy. And I read this, it was so angering. I was like, this is ridiculous. I didn't even realise. And I went away and researched it. I found out more about like conversion therapy, and it doesn't work, you know, unless I'm administering it. But like, I went and looked into it because I didn't know much about it. So I started researching, and I watched this big documentary about this American conversion therapy camp, ironically named. So, conversion therapy camp, ironically. I can't sell every punchline to you guys. You have to shop around yourselves, you know. They're in there, you'll find them. Anyway, this camp is in America. I watched the documentary. It's a 2-week camp. They all share a room for the fortnight. Now, my only hope with that is that if they get caught, they adopt a parenting tactic of making them smoke the whole packet. Oh, you like sucking cock, do you? Well, you're not leaving this room until all of these cocks have been sucked. See how much you like it then. As I say, it's 2 weeks, they all share a room, they do group therapy, they do group sessions, all that sort of stuff. And at the end of the 2 weeks, I shit you not, they put on a musical. It is the gayest shit I've ever seen in my life. At the end of this documentary, they put on a production of Peter Pan. Peter Pan does not work as a conversion therapy musical, right? Number one, Captain Hook is definitely banging Smee. Which is quite a reach around if you think about it. But number two, for the conversion therapy production of Peter Pan, how are they writing around the climactic scene where everybody has to chant, I do believe in fairies. I do. Ridiculous. It's very antithetical to the conversion therapy message. So I went away, I looked it up, and it's still legal in the UK, very sadly for transphobic reasons. They won't include trans people in a conversion therapy ban, which is no sort of ban at all, really. And I sort of got to this and realised, I'm very late to this party. I've been very sort of ignorant and quite arrogant, you know, barging in and thinking I can make a difference with my jokes. You know, move over, Stonewall. Andrew White's got a zinger. Here we go. I felt so stupid and out of the loop, realising all these sort of issues that were going on, and I just realised, we're nowhere near. I'm very lucky, very privileged, but we're nowhere near where we need to be. We've got so far to go, and it just made me think, well, how am I going to get my wellies back? Like, what? I don't have a backup plan, right? Well, actually, that is a lie. I did have a backup plan. It wasn't much of a plan. Basically, as I said, we shared a big Lidl, me and this ghoster. So what I thought I'd do was well, he's going to have to do his weekly shop eventually. I'll just hang around Lidl all day until I bump into him. For about 2 weeks, I did that. I'd just be up and down the middle aisles of Lidl, just like practicing bumping into him. And I was like, oh, hi. I'm just taking this wetsuit to the checkout. Have you got my wellies? Anyway, no, don't worry. And I just did that for like 2 weeks. And I came back one day after a fruitless trip to, literally and figuratively, fruitless trip to Lidl. And Sam said to me, are you just wandering around Lidl hoping to bump into Welly Boy? By the way, this is sort of a damning indictment of any sort of sexual or romantic relationship I've ever attempted. I don't have any exes. They all just have sort of depressing monikers. That's got Welly Boy, Chicken Guy, 5 Minute Man, Premier Inn Boy, Home Bargains Boy. Long-time Andrew White fans will know that Premier Inn Boy and Home Bargains Boy are actually the same guy. Just depends how you tell the story. Anyway... Sam says to me, are you just wandering around Lidl hoping to bump into Welly Boy? And I said, well, he's got to do his weekly shopping eventually. And Sam said, seriously, I've printed out a list of all the local therapists in the area. Please get help. And I said, well, it's not working, you know. I thought I could sort of become a gay icon, do some activism. You know, I've tweeted before. And Sam was like, activism is more than tweeting, you know. You have to, like, have some experience, go out there in person, do stuff. Surely you've done something, had sort of some experience at some sort of protest, anything, you know. Just think back to that. And I had a rack of my brains, and I thought, well, I've not had a lot of experience, but I have had some protest experience, right? And in all places, I have protest experience from Salisbury. Yes. Now, that is rare, because I don't know if you know much about Salisbury, but it's not the place you go for youthful political uprisings, right? So, Salisbury is small C conservative, big C conservative, C-word conservative, the full spectrum, right? You don't go to Salisbury for activism. You go to Salisbury for the beautiful cathedral and the fantastic array of charity shops. I really cannot stress it enough. They got a wonderful selection. Obviously got Sue Ryder, my favourite, of course. They got a really good British Heart Foundation as well, actually. And I like a good British Heart Foundation. They would figure higher. They're probably about number 3 on my list. The thing is, British Heart Foundation would be higher, but I've been betrayed by the BHF too many times. I don't know if you've had this experience. I'll set the scene for you, right? You're walking down the street, you see the British Heart Foundation, you think, oh, this is going to be good. You walk up to the shop, and it's actually a furniture and electrical. I'm not looking to furnish a 1-bedroom flat, British Heart Foundation. I'm exclusively interested in dead people's knitwear. I don't want a divan. I want 3 copies of The 40-Year-Old Virgin on DVD. Stay in your lane. Anyway, point is, Salisbury, as well as its fantastic charity shops. In 2020, in the summer of 2020, it also had a Black Lives Matter protest, which was amazing. It was so cool. I was very impressed with my city. I didn't think we'd be the sort of place that did that, but it was massive. It was a big turnout for the Black Lives Matter protest. It was amazing. It was so cool to go and see my city come out in support of it. I will say, I don't know if you know much about the demographics of Salisbury. We very quickly ran out of black people. We had about 3 speakers and then just 400 white people looking at each other like, who goes next? We just sort of had to work our way down an oppression checklist. Like I got up to speak as a gay man, you know. I was a hot ticket minority at that event. And let me tell you, 3 months into lockdown, lovely bit of stage time. But, no, it was amazing. It was a fantastic protest. It was really cool to see so many people come out for Salisbury. As I said, I wouldn't have expected that from my city, but I was very, very proud that day. I only have one criticism, really, and that is nobody really planned an ending. Now, you know, no flashy finale or anything. You know, I'm not that much of a showbiz wanker, but some sort of definite end, because what ended up happening was we had about 9 gap year students in a row sort of talking about their own privilege, and sort of, okay, we get it, you tweet. And it was sort of diluting the message a little bit. People were waning. I could see people in the crowd were like, well, we do support this cause, but when is this going to end? And the woman who's running it, she had a great idea. She thought, right, I'm going to bring this to a nice conclusion. We've had a fantastic day, lots of lovely support. I'll just get up and address the masses. So she got up on the bench and she said, hello, everybody. Thank you so much for coming out today. Really appreciate all your support. It's been so nice to see so many of you here this afternoon. We just thought it'd be really nice just to all come together, have a bit of a community here. It'd be really nice if we all just got together. I'm sure you all know the words to Where Is the Love by the Black Eyed Peas. Let me tell you, Leicester, this white middle-class audience of Salisbury did not know the words to Where Is the Love by the Black Eyed Peas. So if you were in Salisbury, June 2020, this was our rallying cry against racism. Where is the love? Where is the love? We all knew the chorus. We all joined in for the chorus. We got so confident with the chorus that we sang it 8 times. 8 times he sang, where is love, where is love, where is love? And it was so inspiring and uplifting for the crowd in Salisbury that more people got up to speak, right? They thought, oh, this is the atmosphere's febrile. Now is my chance to say what I want to say about this. So more, basically, it just wasn't, I had to leave because my parking was running out, you know? I'm just saying, if you go to Salisbury today, if you go to the Guildhall Square, there are still people taking the knee out of social embarrassment. But I thought back to that. When Sam said, have you had any activism experience? I went to that protest. It wasn't much, but it did make me think, oh, maybe I do have a role to play. Maybe there is something I can contribute. Because all that event needed, really, was a schedule. And I fucking love a schedule. Oh, I'm good. I'm very good at admin. I'm sure there's quite a common thing. You may be aware of this. All gay men and indeed gay women are very good at admin. That's why there's the gay agenda. That's what that is. The B in LGBT actually stands for bureaucracy. I thought, oh, I've got some admin skills here. I'm very good at spreadsheeting, and I think it would be great if gay people were in charge of lots more admin and stuff like that. Like even homophobia would be better organised under gay men. You know what I mean? Just like get sort of a team in to sort that out. Like even the gay agenda, clunky. The Bender agenda. Yeah. If you swing both ways, the itinerary. Point is, I thought, maybe this is how I can contribute. Maybe I can do some admin, and maybe I can sort of get involved that way. And you may be thinking, well, surely the anarchist, anti-establishment nature of protest doesn't lend itself to spreadsheeting. However, there is a precedent for this, a historical precedent for scheduling. This is the program for the March on Washington, the 1963 famous march in America where Martin Luther King gave his famous I Have a Dream speech. Every speaker, every minute, organised, planned out exactly. There's Martin Luther King right at the end, obviously. Very much a headliner, MLK, you know. You know what I mean? I don't think any of these guys wanted to follow the most famous speech in all of human history. There he is right at the end, Martin Luther King. I don't know if you can see this, just a pencil mark from history. It's a beautiful sort of insight into the past. Just underneath, it just says, Will I Am sing along, question mark? Point is, I thought maybe I could have a role, you know? You know, right now we look back at protests like Stonewall, we think, wow, Stonewall, amazing. I wonder who threw the first brick at Stonewall. 50 years from now, I want people to look back and they go, wow, that civil rights movement, that was amazing. I wonder who chose the font. Me! Me! Oh, that movement, their pamphlets had a lovely paper GSM, didn't they? That was really good. Thank you. So, okay, there's something I can do. I can contribute. I can do something. I have a place in this. So all I need to do now to sort of get my gay icon status is sort of nail down the gay thing. I am gay. That's not... I am like 100% gay. Well, sometimes boyish lesbians, but that's a visual trip-up, I think. I don't think that's on me. So I'm No, I am gay. The reason I say sort of the gay thing is obviously I want to become a gay icon, get on Graham Norton, get my wellies back as the only logical solution. But the problem is I'm not very integrated with gay culture. I've not been in many gay spaces. As I said, I grew up in Salisbury. I had no community around me. So I thought, right, well, if I'm going to do this, I've really got to, integrate with sort of queer society. I thought, right, I'll go down to a gay bar. I've never been to a gay bar before. I'm going to go to a gay bar. Had a free evening in London. I thought, right, gay bar near me. So I found this place. It popped up. It was near King's Cross. I went down to the bar, and there was a big metal door and a little booth and a man in the booth, a poof in the booth, and a lesser-known Radio 1 segment. But I go up to the man to get into the club, and he says to me, it's £10, you get free entry and a free drink. And I said, well, one of those things is not free. But I paid my money anyway, and he opened the big metal door. And as I stepped into the club, he was there to hand me a Ziploc bag of condoms, lube, and a raffle ticket. Now, I don't know what your first thought would be if you were handed a baggie of condoms, lube, and a raffle ticket, but mine was, oh, I love a tombola. Ooh. I hope it's a meat raffle. It was. It was. So I took my little baggie, wandered into the club confusedly, and as I rounded the corner, I realised that everybody in this club was entirely naked, right? And in my naivety, I'd not come to any gay bar, no. I'd come to a gay cruising bar on a Monday night, which is nudity mandatory. On a Monday night, the most sacred of school nights, nudity mandatory. So I'm looking around at this room of naked men, and I think to myself, well, I would like my free drink. So I strip entirely naked, other than your shoes and socks. You've got to leave your shoes and socks on, right? The one thing you're catching in there is not a verruca. Honestly, the state of those floors, I was longing for my wellies at that point. But it was so strange. I went up to the bar to get my free drink included with entrance ticket, which, by the way, was a can of Stella Artois. Yeah. Number one, shit. Number two, very emasculating when you have your penis out all night. Just as a live comparison, you know? Like, especially, and I probably a bit too gratuitous, but we're past that point now, especially because the entirety of my visit, I was totally flaccid. Now, I think that's an important detail, because you know how easy it is for a young man to get an erection? You know, I look around, a few of you would have forgotten, but generally... you know, you can't even control it sometimes when you're that age. In class, I once got a boner over a poem about women's breasts. I need to remind you, because I've banged on about it enough, a gay man was more aroused by boob poetry than a live gay sex club. So I'm stood there in the club, entirely naked, under my shoes and socks, with my can of Stella, totally flaccid, wishing I'd embellished any of this story. And I think, oh, what do you do at a gay club? Have a nose around. Not a euphemism. And so I just sort of exploring all the little areas, little side rooms, just go, oh, they're not getting any free biscuits. That's all, go on. Point is, I did a little recce. It wasn't for me. I think, right, I'm just going to nurse my Stella, go back out and call this a lived experience, shall we say. So I'm there at the bar with my can of Stella, and as I'm stood there, this guy comes up right next to me, and he starts flirting at me. Right, and I say at me because I'm not responding, you know. He's just like sort of monologuing away. I'm panicking, looking for an escape route. And as he's talking to me, luckily, my knight in shining armour, well, my knight in exclusively Reebok trainers, comes barging towards us, barreling down. He splits us in two, not like that. And gets in between us and desperately asks the barman for more lube. Which, if you're wondering, by the way, delivered in much the same fashion as a McDonald's worker begrudgingly giving you more ketchup. So he takes his armful of sachets, well, not got pockets, has he? So takes his sachets of lube, wanders back into the club, and I think, perfect, this is my chance to make an escape from this guy. So as he disappears from between us, I step to leave. As I step to leave, this guy gets even closer, puts his arm around me, and I find myself saying out loud at what is essentially a gay orgy, "Oh, no, sorry, I'm just here for the ambience." And I think I should probably leave. So I go out into the streets of London. I go get dressed, go into the streets of London. I look at my phone. I've been in the club for 12 minutes. 12 minutes, yeah. And in that time, I'd been forced to strip entirely naked and pay £10 for half a can of Stella Artois. That's fucking London prices for you, honestly. Ridiculous. Anyway, I felt a bit stupid. I felt a bit naive. Like, surely I should have known what I was getting myself into. So I went away and I looked up the club, right? It's called Vault 139. You can search it yourself, turn safe search on. And see if you can notice why I didn't realise what Vault 139 actually was. Happening gay bar featuring a strict dress code. That is not enough information! This should read, full frontal fuckfest, footwear favoured. That's... Do you know, during COVID, it used to have a little note that said, no takeaway, no delivery. But it's now got a note that says, doesn't accept reservations. That is beautiful. I'm glad I looked it up, though. This Google is absolutely wonderful. The reviews are something to behold. Let me find you some of these. Some of my favourite reviews from Vault 139. 3 stars. Not as good as it was before COVID, because the lighting is now too harsh. Catty. We're a very catty people, the gays. This is my favourite review. This is from Dimitri. It's a 5-star review from Dimitri. And I need you to understand, I'm not mocking Dimitri's broken English, but there is a poetry to his words that deserves to be read verbatim. Dimitri. 5 stars. Small but busy place. Sometimes good times, sometimes bad times. You have to come few times. You get a free drink with entrance ticket and free Wi-Fi. Who's going there for the Wi-Fi? Who's at a loss in London? Like, oh, fuck that Zoom meeting. Oh, God. Oh. Hi, guys. Oh, this Zoom background. Dimitri concludes. I met a nice guy there once, so we met a second time in Paris. Yeah. Dimitri found love at Vault 139. This made me reconsider everything. Maybe I've been too hasty, too harsh. Yeah, maybe I should give it another go. It's an extra review. Philip, 1 star, got punched in the face there. So, as Dimitri says, sometimes good times, sometimes bad times. It was shocking. It was shocking, that experience. It was my first sort of attempt to sort of go out into gay culture, into gay clubs, and I was shocked. I was shocked because I wasn't expecting it, but I wasn't retrospectively surprised. I wasn't surprised because all I'd known of gay culture was sort of sex and tragedy. That's all. Being sort of in that little bubble in Salisbury, I'd obviously never been to any gay bar before, but all I'd ever seen was what was on TV and what was on Grindr. That was sort of my only exposure to any sort of gay culture. And Grindr's horrible. As I said, it's basically just a hookup app, and it's like very sort of seedy, and it's all these horrible like tribes and stuff within it. I'm sure you're familiar with some of the gay tribes, you know, bear, twink, otter, pangolin, all the classics. And there's this weird thing as well that's so common and really like pervasive on the app. It's called Mask for Mask, which I realise in a post-pandemic world sort of sounds like a face-covering swap shop. That's not what it is. No, Mask for Mask stands for masculine for masculine, and that's my category. No, okay, fair enough. But basically, these mask for mask guys, are sort of manly guys, and what they want is they want to get fucked in the ass, but not in a gay way. That's sort of the vibe of their messaging. They just want a nice manly bumfuck. And this is like the pervading culture on all of Grindr. It's mass. It's one of the most common things you'll see. It's so bad that once I even saw a guy, he put in his bio, no puffs on Grindr. My friend, you're in the wrong place. This is a puff paradise, a cornucopia of puffs. That's like wandering into a barber shop and yelling, I don't want a haircut. That's all I seen, just this sex on Grindr, and then TV representation wasn't much better. You know, all of gay TV was either really, really horny or really, really sad. You know, like either way, you're gonna need tissues. But it was basically all gay storylines were either all the gays getting off with each other, or all the gays are dying, or all the gays are getting off with each other and dying. And it was just like constant. So all I saw was sex and tragedy, and so I wasn't that shocked by what 139, and it made me quite sad realizing that was not a surprise to me. It was, it was sad. And don't get me wrong, it's getting better. I think I sort of just missed my age coming up with a positive representation on screen. Hopefully it's better for the younger generation. You know, there's shows like Heartstopper now. Heartstopper, a very sort of beautiful show that shows sort of gay love quite purely, quite innocently. Although I will say, they're all quite fit, which is not full representation, is it? You know, gay rights for uggos. That's what sort of the message of this show, really. So it's getting better. It's getting better. But I certainly didn't have that, and I think a lot of queer people have a similar sort of problem that I had. I realised I had in this moment, where I'd never really seen like gay relationships represented very well, and I sort of wasn't very good at identifying different types of love. You know, there's obviously lots of different types of love. You've got sort of romantic love, sexual love, platonic love. Obviously, I know familial love, that's different. I wasn't like, oh, I think Dad's cracking on to me. I just mean like with platonic love, you'd think there was more to a friendship, or with sexual love, you think perhaps there was more to a hookup. And I'd really sort of got trapped in not knowing differences because I didn't have anything to look at that showed what it was, really. And it's definitely happened with my housemate, Sam. When I first met Sam, I really, really fancied him. I thought we really got on. I thought maybe that we were, you know, destined to be. Maybe we thought we could have a relationship. But I was wrong, and he was very sweet about it. I told him that I fancied him before we moved in, and he's very lovely. He sort of let me down quite nicely and gently, which is actually really annoying because it just made me fancy him more. You know? Like, just be a dick and let me move on, mate, all right? Fucking hell. But he sort of was very nice and gentle, and he let me down. I realised what we had was a platonic love, you know. We had a shared friendship and connection and empathy and sense of humour. And I'm over that now. I know there's not anything there. And I know I'm over it because I've stopped overacting when people mistake us for a couple. You know? I don't know if you've ever had this with somebody you fancied and someone's like, oh, are you guys a couple? A couple? Oh, couple. Could you imagine? Do you imagine, right? So I'm over that now. I realise what we have is a platonic bond. But it made me realise just how much I'd been sort of lacking this gay representation in my life, and how much I'd sort of ended up down this path chasing things that weren't actually there. And I realised that what I was looking for in Sam, what I thought maybe there could be a relationship, was this kindness, this generosity, this sort of sense of connection. And I thought, oh, well, I still can have that. You know, not with Sam, because he's a friend, but that is what I should be looking for in a relationship. That's what I deserve in a relationship. That's what everyone deserves in a romantic relationship. And I hadn't sort of afforded myself that. I hadn't given myself permission to look for that with romance. And I realised that then. And would that have been easier to work out via therapy? Maybe, but, you know, 50 quid a session or 5 grand at the Edinburgh Fringe. Fringe, please! Oh, what a financial money pit that was. But no, it made me realise, like, oh yeah, I can just look for a nice connection with somebody romantically. And thankfully I did after that as well. After having all these realisations, I also had a second chance at going into a gay space, and it was much more positive. Last year I went to my first ever London Pride. It was fantastic. It's amazing. If you've never been to London Pride, fully recommend it. It's huge. Every type of gay is there. You've got loud gays, quiet gays, football gays, musical theatre gays, a fracking company for some reason. Oh, we love oil and gays. Me too, but not like that. And honestly, if you went to London Pride last year, you would have thought British Gas threw the first brick at Stonewall. That was sort of the level of sponsorship. But generally, it was a very positive experience. It was nice to be amongst so many different types of people from across the LGBTQIA+ spectrum. All these sort of people, being in such a large queer space like that, I realised that, these people, they are gay, but it's not who they are. It's just a facet of them, you know. There's lots of different lives have been led, lots of different personalities and political beliefs and everything, and just they're not the gay, they're just a gay person, and they've got lots of other life around them. And I realised I've been so hung up because I didn't know what a gay relationship was. I hadn't seen gay relationships represented, so I thought there was a thing that was gay relationships. But I realise now it's just like any other relationship, you know. I mean, you have to buy your own biscuits, but generally there's nothing different. I should just be looking for the love and kindness I deserve. And I was obsessed with what a gay man was. I was obsessed with becoming a gay icon and talking about gay issues. But I don't have to be, confined by that. I was so worried about, what producers and agents needed of me, and worried about living up to this expectation. And really I should do what I love, which is stand up. And I should use this to talk about what I want to talk about. I shouldn't feel like I have to talk about gay issues. I should talk about what I love, my passions. The reason I love Sue Ryder charity shops. Oh, so many reasons. They are fantastic. Genuinely, I've never been in a bad Sue Ryder. I promise you that. You will never go into a bad Sue Ryder. The floor layout is fantastic. In Winton, the Sue Ryder, wonderful stock rotation. Oh, those old ladies kept those racks moving. It was beautiful. Some of you may know this. Sue Ryder have their own brand of dolls' houses and dolls' house furniture. Yes, genuinely, you go to Sue Ryder, they'll have dolls' house furniture and dolls' houses they manufacture and sell themselves as a charitable endeavour. That's amazing. Oh, Great Ormond Street, we've got bags of sweets. Fuck off, Great Ormond Street. Sue Ryder have dolls' houses. Amazing. I love it so much. I love Sue. I adore it. I adore it. I will always go in one. My only problem with Sue Ryder is that I have no idea what they do as a charity. Absolutely no. I've done no research, right? As far as I'm aware, Sue Ryder could be a pro-eugenics charity. Honestly, thank you so much for your donation today. You're helping fund vital research. Well, what in? The medical eradication of ginger people. Oh, okay. Just this tiny porcelain owl, then, please. I love Sue Ryder. And I was in Winton Sue Ryder January after the great ghosting. And I love that Sue Ryder. I went there a lot. And this time, January is a good time to go, by the way, because you get all of people's unwanted Christmas shit. That is a good sort of time to go into the charity shop. So I was definitely hitting Sue Ryder hard that January. And I was in there one day in that January and just going through the racks. And out of the corner of my eye, I spotted a pair of wellies. I thought, that fucker. He's been so cowardly. He cannot come to me, he cannot message me. Instead, he has donated the wellies to my favourite charity shop. And he knows it's my favourite charity shop because I would not shut up about it. I just go into this blind rage. I just see red, and I take the wellies up to the counter, and I'm not paying for them. They're my wellies, right? I don't even know what you do as a charity at this point. I don't care. And I'm just pouring my heart out to this poor woman behind the counter, just explaining it all. I'm like, chicken run is like Wallace and Gromit, but chickens, and Pizza Hut, but we didn't get the buffet, and as I'm just ranting at this terrified old woman, I glance down and just spot on the inside of the wellies, just written in Sharpie, the word Claire. These aren't my wellies. And I have to very quickly back down. And I'm like, and anyway, the point is I now need new wellies. These, please, thank you. And you might be thinking, oh, well, at least you got wellies now. Size 5 women's. Absolutely no use to me. So I'm here with these superfluous wellies. I can't show my face in my favourite charity shop again. I thought, giving so much mental energy to this stupid quest, this stupid guy who wasn't even a good relationship, you know. I thought there was something there. It wasn't, no. He was a bit self-centred. He was rude to wait staff. He was ambivalent to charity shops at best. We weren't a good fit, and I've been chasing it, and I thought, you know what, I don't care anymore. I don't care about him, and I don't care about my wellies. And there's a saying in love, that you find love the moment you stop looking for it. And the same, it turns out, is true of farmyard footwear. About 2 weeks after my Sue Ryder breakdown, a dark day in Andrew White history, I got a message on my phone. It was 1 a.m, I'm home alone, Sam's gone back to his parents, got the house to myself, and I get a message on my phone. It's 1 a.m, and it's Welly Boy. Out of the blue, he's messaged me. He says, I'm so sorry, can I come over? I've got an empty house, I'm open-minded, I'm curious, I want to know, I've got lots of questions. I say, sure, come on over. So he comes on over from wherever he lives. Still don't know. He gets to my house about half an hour later. I let him in, he's drunk. He's very drunk, he's been to a Eurovision party. Because as much as gays are multifaceted people, stereotypes exist for a reason. So I get him some water, and we sit down on the sofa and we start chatting, and he starts explaining himself to me, and he says, oh, it was just awkward. I just sort of moving very quickly, and it was very awkward, and then the longer I left it, the more awkward it was, and I didn't know what to do, and I sort of ended up in this spiral, and he was just panicking and pouring his heart out to me, and I looked over at him, and I realised he's just scared, you know. He didn't know what to do. He's the same victim of gay hookup culture and lack of representation that I am. He just didn't know what to do. And luckily, I had a printed list of all the local therapists in the area. So I gave him that, we started chatting. We caught up for about 3 hours in the end, and it ended up about 4 a.m, and I thought, look, it's too late for you to go home now. You might as well stay the night. And we went up to my bedroom, and I know I shouldn't have, Leicester, but we did hook up again. I know I probably shouldn't have, but, you know, on the journey to self-acceptance, you're going to make some mistakes. And also, no matter how much I learn to love myself, I still can't suck myself off. So he stays the night. He stays the night, Welly Boy, and in the morning he gets up and he goes off into the distance. And I've not seen him since. I've not heard from him since. But it's okay, because he didn't turn up empty-handed. He arrived with an M&S bag for life, because for 3 months, to avoid bumping into me in Lidl, he'd been shopping at Marks and Spencer's. And in that bag was my flat cap. And my wellies. And Leicester Muddy Walks are back on the agenda! Thank you. Thank you very much. Thank you. I really appreciate your support. Thank you so much for coming out and supporting my show. There's lots of fantastic stuff happening here at the Leicester Comedy Festival. May I recommend at the Sue Townsend Theatre, there's actually a conversion therapy production of Peter Pan. It's been getting rave reviews, I hear. No, there's lots of fantastic stuff to see. Please do explore the brochure and make the use of the wonderful talent here in the city. Thank you for supporting me. It's been an interesting journey, this whole show. Nice to put it to bed, really. And there is actually a nice addendum for all of this. When I went to my first London Pride, I actually went to that Pride on a 3rd date. Yes. My equal best record. And that man that accompanied me to London Pride that year, he made it past 3 dates, and he's still my boyfriend. And we've been going out for 2 years now. Thank you very much. So, yes. I think he's also very happy that I will stop talking about my past hookups now. So that is pretty much the end of the show. I realised I'd become so obsessed and caught up in other people's images and perceptions and chasing things that I shouldn't have really been chasing. And I realised I'm not going to do that again, because this guy affected so much of my life, so much of my mental energy. Even my ambition was affected by Welly Boy. You know, what I wanted out of life was surely just to get my wellies back and impress this guy. And it was so stupid. I'm never going to let that happen again, My ambitions are my ambitions, right? And I want to do this. This is it. This is my ambition. Stand up. I love it so much, right? And I don't care about arenas or the Graham Norton show, right? All I want, my sort of level of fame, what I'm aiming for is one day to be successful enough to find my own DVD in a charity shop. Ideally, Sue Ryder, of course. Now, you may have expected, when I was talking about songwriting earlier, you may have expected, perhaps there's a musical finale afoot. But my housemate Sam, he was correct. I'm not much of a singer-songwriter. However, there is a way I can send you home happy tonight. Lovely people of Leicester, I'm sure you all know the words to Where Is the Love by the Black Eyed Peas. And if you don't know the words, just hum along. It'll be oddly fitting. People killing, people dying, children hurt and you hear them crying. Can you practice what you preach? Would you turn the other cheek? Father, 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 help us, need some guidance from above. 'Cause people got me questioning, where is the love? Where is the love? Where is the love? 8 times we sang that, 8 fucking times.